Talking about Ninja Gaiden 2 can be frustrating, man, because the fans are always arguing and they've been doing this for decades. Which version is the best version of Ninja Gaiden 2? And I had to figure out why they were going on about it for so long. You would think that the new Ninja Gaiden 2 Black would have been the ultimate Ninja Gaiden 2 experience, but according to the fans, it's more of a slight improvement over Sigma 2 rather than a game that brings the best of Ninja Gaiden 2 and Sigma 2 into one package. I want to go back to the original and Sigma 2 to really see how different these games are. Sometimes fans can over-exaggerate things, and I want to see for myself. Are these games really that different? And which one is the better version? I already had the Master Collection, so I started with Sigma 2. Sigma 2 was everything I liked about Ninja Gaiden Black. It had challenging fights, amazing combat animations, and a focus on dealing with enemies as quickly as possible, rather than styling on them like other hack and slash games. Sigma 2's combat, it's over the top with all the blood and limbs flying everywhere, but little did I know that I was only witnessing a fraction of what the original game had. Ninja Gaiden 2 on Xbox 360 was built from the ground up to support the new dismemberment system and gore. The levels will turn red with blood as Ryu chops up ninja and demons with ease. Bad guys lose their limbs at a faster rate in this version, and the number of guys coming at you skyrocketed. Once I saw all that I was missing, I was right on board with the fans that sing the praises of Ninja Gaiden 2 over Sigma. That's until I hit Chapter 3. From this point on, Ninja Gaiden 2 slowly increased in annoyance. What started off as a fun challenge turned into irritation. One-on-one boss fights had grunts now. Ninja Gaiden 2's bow is manual aim and it's not well done. So when the game keeps throwing shooting segments at me like it's Resident Evil, you can understand my frustration. That's not all though. The frame rate kept getting worse. The water dragon fight that everyone swears is better in 2 because you could fight on the water, in my opinion, is actually made worse for it. And the most disrespectful moment in my gaming career were these bombs right after fighting this fire boss. Why would they put these bombs here? You can't even see them, and what's worse is that you have to fight the boss all over again if you die. Most of these complaints are fixed in Sigma 2, but it doesn't mean that Sigma 2 is better. It's more polished for sure, but when Ninja Gaiden 2 is hitting just right, there is nothing like it. I feel like I'm playing the final scene of Kill Bill constantly. One man versus an army of foes, and they aren't messing around. I played on normal, and to be honest, people oversold the difficulty. Ninja Gaiden 2 was way more annoying than it was hard due to how damage works. Ryu could take a beating because most attacks don't do a lot of damage. I found myself getting tossed around by explosives and ranged weapons, and even though it was annoying, it does make sense. The low damage in this game is here for a reason. If enemies did the same amount of damage as Ryu, the game would be unplayable. Which brings me to Sigma 2. Sigma 2's damage scaling is mostly fine until you play on the hardest difficulty. Grabs and projectiles do a lot of damage to you in Sigma, but on Master Ninja, it's instant death. It's bearable until you get to the female fighters. Sigma 2 introduces 3 extra characters, Momiji, Ayane, and Rachel, who add a nice change of pace compared to Ryu, but unfortunately, the devs didn't scale their abilities to match Master Ninja mode. You have to play in such a way that's so limited that all sense of fun is zapped out of the game. I'm sure you could push yourself to overcome this unfair mess, but I play games to have fun and to have a challenge, not to piss myself off. Besides the enemy count and how damage works, combat is mostly the same for each game. Taking into consideration both the pros and the cons of the combat, I would say that the combat comparison is more even than not. Ninja Gaiden 2 is more about killing tons of ninja as fast as you can to weave out the horde, while Sigma 2 has less enemies. But they did give them more health, allowing you to use longer combos compared to the original. Ryu has access to a handful of weapons that can be upgraded to increase their power and move list. Some weapons work better depending upon the version you're playing, which is kind of interesting. The ninja claws in Sigma do not chop off limbs as often as they do in the original game. Playing Sigma 2 first, I just didn't use them that much as other weapons work better. But going to Ninja Gaiden 2, they became one of my favorite weapons because they were so deadly. It's the same with the scythe. In Sigma 2, the scythe is slow, but not as powerful as other weapons. And because the rate in which you delimb enemies has changed, its true potential is only seen in the original game. In the original game, they always delimb, making it one of the best weapons you can use. Now, to be fair, overall, the weapon is fine in Sigma. It's only when you play both games that you realize its shortcomings. So if you never played the original game, you wouldn't be aware of it. Now, my favorite weapon in any Ninja Gaiden game is the Lunar Staff. And the interesting thing is, in Sigma, it's slightly better than the original. For some reason, in Ninja Gaiden 2, the launcher input is different, whereas in Sigma 2, they made it uniform across the board. So you don't have to remember a special way of launching enemies with the Lunar Staff. Sigma 2 has an exclusive weapon, the Great Sword, which seems to be the same Great Sword for Ninja Gaiden Black. And it works so well in this game that I question why Ninja Gaiden 2 didn't have the Great Sword. Now, everyone hates that Sigma 2 removed the sub-weapons. The explosive kunai and wind shuriken are not available to Ryu and Sigma, and the environment will remind you of their absence. But if I'm being honest, I rarely use these sub-weapons in Ninja Gaiden 2. They could have still added them, and people even found out in the code of Sigma 2 that they are still there, but you can't use them. But overall, man, I just find them being here, not being here, inconsequential. Like, I rarely use them. Maybe Master Ninja mode, they'll be more important, but on normal, outside of a few enemies that do take a lot more damage if you use an explosive kunai, you still even, I didn't realize that till later anyway. Them being here, not being here doesn't matter. As far as new mechanics go, the obliteration technique is by far the one thing this series needed. You could even say Ninja Gaiden Black had a prototype version of this when you could stab down enemies and it would instantly kill them. Well, sometimes you had to stab them a few times, but you get my point. After you chop off a limb, you could instantly kill your opponent by using a heavy attack. It works the same way in both versions of Ninja Gaiden 2, but because the original game has more detailed gore, you'll see not only more blood, but you'll see special animations that aren't even found in Sigma. I was really impressed to see these. You'll even see more detailed dismemberment in the cutscenes. Get it? Cutscenes? I'll stop now. The dismemberment system in Ninja Gaiden 2 was so crazy that the Wolfmen would actually pick up dead bodies and throw them at you. This is not found in Sigma 2 at all, and when I found this out, I was blown away. It's so crazy that Team Ninja and Itagaki even came up with this concept. Now, when you're having fun cutting up enemies, you want to make sure you watch out for these amputees, because if they grab you, they're willing to take you out with them. Now, this is where I will defend Sigma 2's Purple Mist. Yes, I would rather have the gore, but I also like the Purple Mist, as I feel it makes for an obvious signal to let me know that I've actually dismembered an enemy, and it's now time for me to
kill them.
Without the mist, everything is just red, and while you're busy fighting off 5 other dudes, you'll get grabbed by some guy you didn't even realize was coming at you. If only they could have, like somehow remade Ninja Gaiden 2 and like combined, think about it, combined the best of Ninja Gaiden 2 and Sigma 2 into one package. Like, just imagine, what if they did that? That would be so crazy, right? Ultimate techniques are still around and are even more over the top than they were in Ninja Gaiden 1. Charging up an ultimate attack is easier in Sigma as the AI is likely to still approach you while you're still charging one up. And because there are less enemies on the screen, you'll have more room to be by yourself to pull one off. In Ninja Gaiden 2, the AI will wait, and wait. They will not approach you at all while you're charging UT. Plus, it's so many people trying to kill you at once that the best way to charge a UT in Ninja Gaiden 2, the original, is by using Essence. Essence are those floating orbs you've been seeing on the screen while I've been playing. They can be either health, currency, or magic. Charging up will draw Essence towards you, boosting your UT faster. Currency Essence only gives you a fraction of the money if you use it for UT. But this is the trick. The more UTs you pull off in a fight, the more currency you will gain. You will need all the money you can get for upgrades and items. Ninja Gaiden 2 allows you to buy weapon upgrades anytime you want, whereas Sigma restricts you to only leveling up one weapon per shop. Sounds horrible, but it's balanced around it in Sigma, so outside of it seeming odd, I didn't find it to be a problem. Money in Sigma is only used for healing items, as the weapon upgrades are free. What I didn't like is that Sigma 2 takes away my decision to use permanent health upgrades when I want to. There is no reason at all to change this, and unlike the original, they only increase your health bar, they don't even give you a full heal back. The health system in Ninja Gaiden 2 must have been inspired by Halo, as Ryu has regenerating health. Your health heals after battle, but when you take damage, a red bar blocks your health from fully recovering. You have to either use healing items or you can save to break this curse. Now keep in mind, when it comes to saving, you only get a heal from a save the first time you use that save post. And of course you have healing items, but you can only carry a few of them at a time, so you need to play smart. Now my favorite part of Ninja Gaiden 2 are the tests of valor. These are bonus rooms where you fight waves of enemies and you can receive a chest that typically has a health upgrade in it, but sometimes it has these stupid fish. I don't know why they decided to do that. Tests of valor are completely absent in Sigma 2. Now they were probably removed because they might have not worked as well with the lesser enemies on screen, but I'll be honest with you, I still would have took them with lesser enemies. I think these are just fun little challenge rooms. We already get there in other game modes technically, so it wouldn't have been a big deal. And the crazy thing is, they're not even in Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Test of Valor not only was a challenge for me, but it also was the gateway to getting the permanent health upgrades in Ninja Gaiden 2. So when the Test of Valor are taken away, you might be wondering, well, if that's where you got permanent health upgrades in Ninja Gaiden 2, where do you get them in Sigma 2? And I'll tell you, in a lackluster way, they're just in chests. And what's even crazier, unless you play both games, you don't even realize they're in chests at the portals that were in Ninja Gaiden 2. So where the portals would have been, they just put a chest there with a health upgrade. I thought that Ninja Gaiden 2, I thought Itagaki and his team were just being generous. I don't know. I didn't realize that he didn't have anything to do with Sigma 2. I was like, why is this? I didn't think much of it at the time. But then when you play Ninja Gaiden 2, you're like, oh, so this is something missing is here. Oh, that's why this is the way. I just thought they were being nice. Like, here's a health upgrade. I was finding health upgrades left and right in Sigma 2. The change to enemy density in Sigma 2 just doesn't affect gameplay either. It makes everything feel oddly barren. Now, there were a few times that this happened in the original game, but you can just feel like something is missing in Sigma. It feels like a ghost town, and even I know something was off, even though the first version I played was Sigma. Ninja Gaiden 2 also has way more details in its stages compared to Sigma. The fog is present and thick in Ninja Gaiden 2, whereas in Sigma 2, I guess the fog went on vacation. The rain and lightning strikes really pop in Ninja Gaiden 2. And in Sigma 2, there's no lightning, but you do get this blinding flash, so that's something. Despite all the details, Sigma 2 as a whole looks better than Ninja Gaiden 2. It's just the little details that are missing. RIP, turnstile door. You will be missed. Some boss fights are missing or have changed in Sigma. I don't think anyone is sad about this stupid worm boss fight being cut. The dumb twin armadillo fight, I don't know whose idea this was, but this was really stupid. Being swapped out for the demon from Sigma 1, or that the train demon being made easier because Sigma has lock on aim for the bow. That boss, listen, I don't know whose idea was to give manual aim in Ninja Gaiden 2, but any boss fight, any fight with the bow was annoying, but with the boss fights, oh my God, horrible. I'm so glad they changed that. My mental breakdown aside, I love that Ninja Gaiden as a series doesn't do that thing where they made the main character weaker than the bosses that they fight. With the Dragon Blade, you could do massive damage, making Ryu and the bosses feel more like equals, unlike other games where I feel underpowered. Sigma 2 did introduce the two giant statue fights that everyone hates except for me. They can bug out from time to time, causing them to spam the same attacks over and over, but those attacks are easy to read, so I mean, that's annoying and that should be fixed, but unfortunately, they're not in Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, so they can't even be fixed. They're just lost to time. Oh well. Sigma 2 comes with extra game modes that make the package feel worth the dollar. Tag missions are basically a horde mode where you fight waves of enemies with the AI partner that you can switch between. Tag missions did have online support on the PS3 version, but Sigma 2 on the Master Collection and even Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is based off of Sigma 2, neither one of them have online support. Ninja Race is a really interesting game mode that I find myself coming back to. It's basically like a time attack mode that you'll find in a fighting game where every time you kill an enemy, collect an orb, or hit a checkpoint, you get more time on your clock. I think this mode is pretty fun, and it's, again, sad that this is not in Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I don't know why they didn't add this. It's so much fun. I don't get... we'll talk about Ninja Gaiden 2 Black in a minute, but let's just keep going. The last game mode you have is Chapter Challenge. It's like Ninja Gaiden 2's New Game Plus, except you have a maxed out Ryu and the goal is to get the highest score possible, which is Master Ninja. Ninja Gaiden 2, the original, is lacking in extra content when it comes to modes. You got New Game Plus mode, you got a lot harder difficulties, and there are outfits that are only found in this version. Like for some reason, they didn't give Ryu his palette swaps in any other version but the original. I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know if Microsoft owns the color red and yellow. Like, let me ask you guys something. Am I crazy? Why did they give Ryu the colors of ketchup and mustard? When I unlocked these, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, why would I think that this is a good reward? Like the red is kind of cool, but this nasty mustard, like, come on, man. Don't do Ryu like that. Now, there is a mission mode for Ninja Gaiden 2, but I do not have it as it's sold separately. And this is a review about what you get in the base game. So unless one day I buy that, I mean, it's not expensive, but I'm kind of tired of playing Ninja Gaiden 2. I just played both the versions back to back. I'll talk about it at a later date if I ever get it. But for those that want to know, there is a mission mode that you could pay like $7 for. My Ninja Gaiden 2 experience had its ups and its downs, like the staircase frame rate. But overall, I can say that there is no definitive version of Ninja Gaiden 2. Sigma 2 is a fine game, but without the large amount of enemies and gore, it's more like a mod for Sigma 1 than a polished version of the original game. Ninja Gaiden 2 itself was unfinished due to Itagaki, the lead of the project, having a battle with Tecmo at the time. Itagaki sued Tecmo over an unpaid bonus that him and his team was to receive for their work on Dead or Alive 4. Things got disrespectful and they tried to use Itagaki's rebel nature to defame his character. In the end, this caused the game to be rushed out. He was fired right after the game came out, but his team left with him. They did end up settling out of court 2 years later, and we can blame corporate greed for the shortcomings of Ninja Gaiden 2. So really, when we think about it, we never really got the true Ninja Gaiden 2 experience that Itagaki had planned. There is no definitive version of Ninja Gaiden 2, as every version of Ninja Gaiden 2 is built off of the unpolished and unfinished version that released on the 360. Sigma 2 isn't worse than Ninja Gaiden 2, it's just a different game. And Ninja Gaiden 2 isn't this flawless masterpiece either. Instead of fighting about which version is definitive, we should be telling people to play both games. I wish I could say just play Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, but like I said, that's more Sigma than it is a fusion of both games. And because it's mostly Sigma 2, that's why I haven't gotten it yet. I still plan on getting it, and I may even cover it on the channel, but if I already own the Master Collection and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is just Sigma 2 with better graphics, yeah, I can wait on that. Annoying giant red fish and horrible Master Ninja mode aside, I had fun with both games. But it's time to move on to Ryu's next adventure. Good thing there's only one version to play. Wait, what's that? There's two versions of Ninja Gaiden 3? It's not just Razor's Edge, it's two versions? There was an original version, and everybody said it sucked? And I gotta play both of them?